Hello everybody. I wanted to give an update as to where I'm at. Today's date is February 17th. It's a little after 11 o'clock at night. And basically what's new? Well, I bought the workbook. Actually all four. Now it does show two of them here. One is designed for GNS3, and that's what the Dynamips is. So what I've done is I've gone through all of the workbooks. I've downloaded all the PDFs and the configurations and the diagrams and all other good stuff that goes along with it. And um, basically, what I've from picking through the um, the workbooks and stuff like that, from picking through them, I've seen a couple things that are I have questions on, and I have the email address of the instructors that I've been following, like Brian Dennis and Brian McGann, and um, you know they're more than happy to answer questions. It's one of those things that they do on a regular basis. Now, one thing that I wanted to show you. Now, I'm only going to show you a little bit because well, I spent a lot of money on this, so I'm not going to give a lot away for free. So, what I wanted to do was you can't really tell. Is there a better picture? Eh. Yeah, there was an idea, but rotate clockwise. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna bring this back in. This is blew it up. Right there is good. Basically, what you see here is just one lab, and the idea is in the Dynamips you set up your topology like this. There's configurations that come with it, and all you've got to do is slap the configs in, copy and paste them in here, then you just follow the lab. It's pretty straightforward, easy stuff. Nothing too complex. Now, the workbooks go hand in hand with the Advanced Technologies course. So, as you can see, I've got that downloaded. Now, one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through, and it's not because I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I can follow to a what's the best way to put it? I definitely don't have CCIE level understanding yet on everything, but that comes with time. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through and make sure that I can configure all of this with no questions asked, or without having to refer to a video to walk me through it. That's the idea of being a full-fledged, CCNP in this case. This is CCNP stuff, and right below this I have, what else do I have here? IPv6, and then I have the CCIE level stuff, and then um, I know I had CCNP switch in here somewhere, but the idea is to go through this and then go back to CCNP switch and re re reiterate the training. So you're going to go back over the same concepts over and over and over again until you nail them. So that when I get into the CCNP, so that when I'm whether I decide to go for the CCNP or not, I'm good to go. I feel really, really good at the CCNA level. So I'll probably be rescheduling the exam for that. But at the same point in time, there's a lot to know about being a CCIE. So do I think I'm ready for the CCNP? Not yet. I feel pretty confident at the CCNP level, but there are things at the CCNP level that I'm still not good at. So I want to be, you know, I want to know. I want to be like dead set that I can go in there and configure the lab with whatever they do. Now, see, one of the things that I've also done is I've got close that out. Is I've got CCNP Labs. Now, what this does is these are all free, and what you do is that's Brian Dennis right there. It's actually where I bought my workbook series. Um, I would recommend INE any day of the week. But what they do is all these labs is they're designed for the CCNP. Now, um, the idea was behind studying at this level is you're giving yourself a base at the CCNA. I would never, ever, 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 ever in 100 million years ever recommend to anybody that doesn't have at least a CCNA level of understanding ever try to attempt to go beyond without, obviously knowing the technologies. And that's the main thing. That's one thing that no matter how many times you've done it, if you don't understand the technology and the processes behind why things do what they do, the how or the why behind the how, it sounds kind of, whatever. You can get thrown off or what have you. The idea is this. If you don't understand the concept of how OSPF, and the reason I'm bringing up OSPF is because it's right in front of me. Where did I see it? Virtual links? Right here. Um, with virtual links, you can have let's say you have an OSPF area over here and an OSPF area over here. You have um, company A purchases company B, but there is no directly connected neighbor in between. Now, if you know anything about OSPF, you know that all areas besides area 0 have to connect back to area 0. Meaning that if you have area 0 is this section right here, if it's in the white area right in here, if this is the area between company B over here and company A over here, and company A is OSPF area 0, you have to be able to configure a setup so that you can connect to company B and give yourself at least connectivity. A virtual link does that. So what you end up doing is you configure a virtual link to go tunnel through some other section, whether it's EIGRP, BGP, MPLS, and it goes through the internet and it grabs OSPF, or it grabs area 20, if you will. And then eventually you're able to configure like some sort of NBMA, like frame relay or an MPLS VPN tunnel across and connect to this guy, and then area 1 or area 20 will be connected to area 0 via a tunnel or something to that effect. A virtual link is kind of like a band-aid. It's not a permanent fix, but that's the idea, and that's why I really like. It's one of these things where if you don't understand the technologies, you will get hosed. It's definitely something you're gonna want to know. If you don't know, then you're gonna have issues. That's as simple as it is. Now, am I preaching to the choir? No, I'm not. I'm trying to make sure that everybody understands that you get these guys that do these brain dumps. Let's go memorize all the questions to all the tests that are out there, and then go and take the CCNA lab, and then you pass. But if you're asked to see which interfaces are configured on a router or a switch, and you don't know what command to type in, it might take you a second if you're brand new to it. But like if someone's over your shoulder and they're like, what's the IP address of fast00? Well, if you don't know how to type in show IP interface brief, what are you gonna do? Just show run? I mean, you could, but the point is, don't just pass the exam to pass the exam. Because in real life, you're going to need more than just whatever the questions were on that test. You may only get one question on NAT. Well, if you're on the phone with somebody and they're asking you a question about NAT and you don't understand how NAT is configured and how it operates, you're going to be stuck. The whole point of my shooting videos and gabbing for 10-20 minutes at a time is to help you guys understand that there is several ways of learning the technologies. There's book training, which I have books and lots of books. I have video training. I have lots and lots of video training, as you've seen. So Then I have workbooks to help me along with that. They go through step by step by step by step. Then there's labs. You got a lab, you got a lab, you got a lab. That's why I'm here doing these. So actually, hey, I'm going to pause the video for a second, and I'll be right back. Well, I was poking around online for about 10 minutes, and I came up with one little snippet of information that I figured I've got enough labs right now. I don't really need to poke around too much, but I have CCNA labs, I have CCNP labs, and I have, wow, like 30 or 40 CCIE labs that I can practice with. And beyond that, the idea now is just to go out and find online labs beyond that, but you gotta be careful with material because if it's giving you version 2.0 of the CCIE, that's been retired for about 8 years now. So um, make sure that you're looking at information that's up to date. That's number one. So number one, up to date information is absolutely the number one thing you want to be looking at because if you get in a situation where you're focusing on IGRP, which isn't even supported by up-to-date iOSs, something's wrong. So you definitely need to focus on up-to-date information. So did I really want to go out and spend $600 on lab equipment or workbook training and diagrams and labs? No, not really. But considering the CCIE is something that I want to have, and it's not a matter of want to have it so that it's a resume popper and it gets me a high paying job. That's it. That is not the primary reason behind it. Now, I do want to advance myself and I do want to get the certification so that I can, you know, maybe one day see that six-figure income, of course. But the idea is to have a very strong base so that when I walk into a job site or you're on the job and something pops up, you can be like, I know how to fix that. You gotta if this is what's wrong, these are the symptoms. This is probably what's wrong. If you can rattle that stuff off the top of your head, and the people that know what's going on hear you and they're like, well, he might be right. And whether you're the guy that comes up with the fix or you're the guy that they go, well, do you know how to fix it? Like, well, yeah. Well, just let's get on the command line and see what's going on. Start throwing some show commands at it, see what's going at, see what's going on. You know, your employer. Okay, well, the employer that I work for, there's a lot of senior people that work in there. 10, 15, 20, 25-year people. So it's like, you've got to be really, you got to be careful how much forthcoming information you want to give out because some guys they've been doing it for like I said 10 15 years. They know what's going on, they know more about it than you do, and you open your mouth and you've been there just a couple of months and you'd be like, well, if you do this you'll get this, and they probably already know that. So you'd be like, hey, I don't know if this is going to hurt or help, but studying for my exam and I learned about this. Do you think this could possibly ask them and like, well, maybe, can you give me some more information on it? You know, throw it out there, because most places are going to be willing to hear what you have to say if you're quick and to the point. Don't beat around the bush. Well, I was watching this video, going through this, and my wife asked me to do. Don't BS. Don't sugarcoat nothing. Just be like, hey, I was listening to some videos last night, and they were talking about something similar to this. This was the problem. These were the symptoms. This is what they did to fix it. And a lot of videos they'll go through and they'll show you how to fix it. That's the idea. This is what you see. If multicast isn't working and you're using sparse mode and nobody can connect, well, do you have a rendezvous point configured to where they send out the multicast, the join, and nothing comes up? Well, is it configured correctly? Stuff like that. But like I said, I'm not going to sit here and get on my soapbox and start talking, but one of the things I'm actually going to scroll through is I have, notice how my scroll bar is really small. Scroll and scroll and scroll. I did a lot of typing. This is all typed information. Everything, all of the major technologies in the CCIE written exam, which is actually what I'm studying for right now. I'm not studying for the lab. Um, I'm using the Volume 1 workbook to go through and learn each technology and in depth. So when it gets down to it, I can go through a practice test and take it and be like, oh, I know that. The idea, especially with the CCIE, is it's a stepping stone. So one, have at least a solid base information of the CCNP. You don't necessarily have to be a CCNP because there's no prerequisite for the CCIE lab. But if you have a solid understanding of how CCNP is, the route switches and how to troubleshoot the stuff, you will be that much better off when it comes to the CCIE written. Because then you can go in. It's only 100 questions. It's about 2 hours. So when you get there, you've got to know a good amount of information for each technology. You don't have to be an expert in every little thing. You don't have to know specifics about DTP, dynamic trunking protocol, and the different switches that come into play with dynamic desirable versus dynamic auto. So the few things that you're gonna have to remember are to know the bulk of the major information. Now, they may ask you some specifics. I'm not saying not know the specifics, but definitely have, 90% of the technology um, memorized. When it comes to MPLS, make sure you know what the fib is and the LFib and how Ceph integrates and um, how label distribution protocol works and the multicast addresses that it uses, stuff like that. So just be careful. Make sure you are using up-to-date information, and that's just kind of where it is right now with me studying for the CCIE written. And this will probably be my last video for a while because I really want to hammer out get through all the videos and make sure that I can take good notes and be focused on it and stuff like that. So um, that's pretty much where it's at for right now. The CCNA videos that I've recorded, it covers everything. If anybody has any videos that they want me to record in accordance with something else, um, a topic that you're not too strong in and you want me to try to cover it, if I know enough about it to where I think I can cover a half hour, 45-minute video and give you some examples, I will do that. But if I'm, not that strong with MPLS, I'm not going to shoot a video on MPLS because I don't know enough about it to really give you a good base to grow from. So, like I said, shoot me an email, rraker82 at yahoo.com. Send me an email, let me know what's going on. If you're, um, you know, if you need me to point you in the right direction on something, absolutely shoot me an email. Um, I'm more than happy to let you know what I think and where I'm at. I'm not a CCIE, but I'm definitely I feel like I'm on the right track. So I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.